Activate party mode.
A-firm, party mode engaged.
Hello and welcome to Party Mode, the F1 podcast with no limits. I'm Jethro Bovingdon and I am joined by my good friends Matthew Collins and Charlie Curtis. Today we will be discussing all things Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, from eviscerated rabbits to flying cars, and yes, a McLaren driver getting mugged again at the first corner by Verstappen. So boys, F1 is back in Europe and could be the very last race at Imola. It was pretty spectacular, actually. How did it feel from the new world?
Better than I thought.
I thought it was going to be kind of McLaren walking away with it. We heard about all the upgrades coming in, but I just didn't think anything would pan out. And we had a great race weekend.
Yeah, there was so much doom and gloom, wasn't there? There was like, you can't overtake at Imola, and McLaren were going to walk away with it, and it was just going to be Oscar v Norris, which could be good in itself. But as it turned out, it wasn't like that at all. And the action started pretty early. Even in the practices, people were going off and crashing. And then we had the monster qualifying shunt from Yuki, which was scary.
It was crazy because it didn't look that bad when they first showed it. I mean, it looked like he went into the wall pretty fast. Like, I mean, there's a lot of damage, but it seemed like, geez, that car just blew up. Like, what happened? And then when they showed the replay, I mean, he should be dead. It's impossible. It's impossible. He was upside down.
They wouldn't show the replay, and you see his car there, and there's sand all around, and you don't see any track marks ever anywhere. And you're like, how the fuck did he get there? Like, did he fly 100 feet in the air? Because you didn't know that he like crashed into the barriers and then like flipped along the barriers a long distance. And I was just like, this is not good. This is obviously why they're not showing a replay. And then we see the replay, and it's just not good.
Yeah, and he sat in the car for ages, didn't he? He was sat there for quite a while, and you're like, at that point, you're like, okay, what's going on? And the first replay that I saw, anyway, they showed it hit the thing, the barrier, and then as it started to flip, they cut away from it, almost like they hadn't realized the scale and severity of the crash. Yep. And then suddenly the director was like, oh shit, maybe we should just wait until he's out of the car before we show it. But yeah, it was a proper old school crash. It shows, doesn't it, like how safe these things are. But also, Imola might well be going away, and I understand why. Infrastructure, it's too small for the cars and all this sort of stuff, but circuits for consequence, it changes the whole dynamic of the weekend. And I don't want to see anyone get hurt, obviously, but to know that if you put a wheel in the gravel, you're going to spin into a barrier or whatever, to me, that adds an element to it, a sort of gladiatorial element to it, which I really like.
Yeah, it's fun. I like having those mix-ups in the season. They don't all have to be tracks where there's 5 DRS zones and you can pass anywhere you want. Like, I kind of like that. And I like that there's more strategy and it just makes the season more exciting. But we'll see.
Yeah, I thought the balance was good because you could overtake, actually, as we found out in the race.
There's a lot of overtakes.
There's so many fans. It feels like a real event, doesn't it? And I don't know, it just feels a bit more alive than a lot of the new circuits where the drivers spend half the time running wide or putting each other off and flying across acres of tarmac. And like I say, I don't want to see people getting killed, and we've obviously had tragedy at Imola in the past, but there has to be some consequence. And it actually takes care of some of the racing rules, because you've got to race to what's there. You don't want to go in the gravel. You don't want to go in a wall. It stops a bit of the debate. I know we had a couple of debates in the race, but it just creates an edge, which I think is really fascinating to watch.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than the tracks where we have to look at track limits and then you send it up to the stewards and they're deleting lap times every session. That's the worst. So when it's kind of self-regulated like this, it's far more enjoyable to watch.
What do you think? Do you think Yuki's dream is turning into a nightmare? Is it too early to say? I feel like there's moments where you think he's quick.
He did do really well in the race. Like, I don't know. I was kind of saying that, like, there's 2 things that could happen when you have a crash like that. I think if you're older and you have a crash like that, that's kind of the end. You then start second guessing yourself all the time. It freaks you out. But then, I don't know. Yuki had a crash like that, survived it unscathed. that might give him a different thing to like push it a little bit more. Like he doesn't want to crash again, but he's like, well, the worst case scenario is I have one of the worst crashes F1's seen in years, and I'm completely fine. So like, and they still get the car ready, and I gain like 10 spots in the race. Like I'm looking at it maybe as a positive, like it turns him around and gives him a little bit more guts to just push that car.
Yeah. I mean, the invincibility complex is what you're talking about, which is what these old circuits normally take away, actually, because people suddenly realize they can crash. But yeah, I hope so. Like I say, to me, he looks in patches super quick, and then he goes missing, or he crashes, or he does something stupid, and it feels a bit rookie-like. So I want him to string something together. Really, it would be nice if he should be a regular feature in the top 6. Like a P10 shouldn't be a victory for him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. It does seem like he's getting there every week, but the results aren't there. Like I'm always like, oh, this is his weekend. He's turned it around, and then the race comes and he kind of fizzles out and is lost in the middle of the pack. So I don't know. He definitely needs a couple to string together a couple good finishes, top 6, 7, something like that.
Yeah, he needs it, I
get the
think.
ball rolling.
But he wasn't the only one to crash in qualifying. The return of Colapinto, which I do feel bad for doing, and I thought he was pretty good. But Colapinto to me is exciting because he gets in the car, wrings its neck, and unfortunately for Alpine, I feel like he either does really well or he crashes, and qualifying was one of the latter.
It was fun to see him in practice sessions too, racing. He was racing people, making passes, and he was racing during practice, which was
making
like,
a few people pissed off.
Yeah, but I was like, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, for sure.
He really needs
He's
the
got
practice.
a feel of the car. Yeah, he does.
Well, they've told him he's got 5 races. And I think the worry is that would make you super conservative because you're like, oh shit, I don't want to make a mistake. I've only got these 5 rounds. But he, a bit like when he went to Williams, feels like he just gets in and goes, okay, well, I've got 5 races. I'll go as fast as I can. And if I crash, that's what's going to happen. And I know Alpine have been like, do not crash. But you can't give someone, on the one hand, a young kid 5 races to impress, and on the other hand, say go steady and don't crash. It doesn't work. It's one thing or the other.
Yeah, he's fun to watch. I hope he does well enough in the fight. I mean, and also Alpine's not great, so he doesn't have to win races. But I hope he has a couple solid performances so he can stick around.
Alpine did all right, didn't they? Like I mean, there were points where Gasly was like, in practice, like 3rd and 4th and stuff. They suddenly looked like they were going to be quite good. I don't know if that was them being good or everyone else being terrible, because there was a few teams that sort of massively underperformed, at least in qualifying. So I guess the nightmare was there was a few nightmares in quali, wasn't there? But the biggest one was probably the Ferraris. 11 and 12 in front of the home crowd. Leclerc basically sounded like he wanted to kill himself, didn't he? They're so upset.
Yeah. And we say it every week, like, hopefully they can turn it around. Hopefully this is the week that they really perform and put it on pole and maybe win a race. And it's like, they're just getting worse and worse and worse, it seems. Especially during qualifying and at the home track with all the Tifosi there. 11 and 12 is terrible. And nowhere close.
It was bad.
Nowhere close.
Yeah. So listen, it was the 75th anniversary, wasn't it, of the first Grand Prix race, I think, at Silverstone. Ferrari had been there since the beginning. I'm an old fan of F1, so I've watched it throughout my life, basically, in and out, but always been there for me. Ferrari, I guess, is I loved Schumacher. I watched him go from the doldrums into that Schumacher era. I'm a big fan. What do you guys feel like? Because you've basically been in the era where Ferrari have mostly underperformed, been a bit shit, not even necessarily been that likable. Leclerc's obviously cool, but do you feel like Ferrari has the magic for the new fans or not?
I think there is a piece of it, probably not as much as there is for you because of all the history and all of that. But there is still this like legacy that you just feel when you see everything from, their facilities to the team. that bright red. I don't know. You do get a feel of that like legacy team, even though I couldn't tell you all of their legacy drivers over the last 75 years. They still have that feeling versus like an Alpine or something. So if you're new, I do think they have this aura of being, yeah, like this legacy powerhouse, even though they're not doing it now, but probably not as much as it is for you.
What about you, Matt?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't feel it the same. Like, sure, I like the color a lot, but it's like when I see it, it's like I guess the way I've always looked at it is like before I even got into F1, I see someone with a Ferrari hat on. I was like, you better have a Ferrari. This just is a weird brand to wear. Like no one's wearing their Kia hat. But like Ferrari, it's like it always seems like the thing where it's like some dude's trying to look fancy by wearing a Ferrari hat. That was my thought. And then they just don't prove to be that well. And it's just like I think I said at the last podcast, it's like you're supposed to be like the fastest car. You're have that legacy of just being the best car. Like you have money, you're going to get a Ferrari. And it's just kind of disappointing that you can't have a better car in F1. And when you're getting extra money, like what are they getting? An extra $50 million a year in legacy money? Like it's kind of crazy when you have that and you're not doing better than like you see Carlos qualify above them. And I saw it's in Pulp, but I'll bring it up now. Like he was being interviewed and they're like, how do you feel? And like the smile was gleaming. They were like mocking him. They're like, you cannot wipe that smile off your face. Cause he's like, fuck yeah. You guys fucking booted me. And now I'm in a shittier car. I'm in the Williams and I'm doing way better than you. I'm not even in a car brand and I'm doing better than you. And you're in the best car brand.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a shittier car. That's the thing, does it? Like Ferrari have gone from arguably the best car at the end of last year, certainly right up there, like they were scoring really, really heavily, to like basically a car that's not quick. And it's relatively quick in the races, and Lewis felt a bit happier in the race and everything, but it's no good if you qualify 11th and 12th to have the second fastest car if you're already behind all those other competitors. And they're not that much quicker if they get a bit lucky with strategy or whatever. Yeah, it's a strange one. I'd love to see them back in their pomp because I'd love to see Leclerc have a proper chance. I'd love to see Hamilton see if he still got it with a really, really good car. But yeah, it was vaguely tragic qualifying, wasn't it? And I think I was stunned by how much quicker Piastri was than Norris in quali. I was like, and I know we're looking in hindsight now, we know the result and everything, but after quali, I was like, Norris is done. Norris has not got it. He was 3.5 tenths or something, which this season is huge, when normally the gaps are like hundredths of a second. And I was like, I've got faith in Norris. I really like him. I think he's super quick. But all the evidence now just says Oscar's got his number. And after quali, I was like, he's done. It's not happening for Norris this year.
Mm-hmm. He does look faster, but I still think it's going to come down to Max. Those two guys have just proven time and time again that when it's a head-to-head battle, they don't have it, and Max is going to get them every time. And, you know, a track like this, like that makes a big difference. It's not easy to pass. It's not easy to make up that time. And so I don't know, that first turn, I was excited because Piastri got a good jump and I thought, okay, he's going to hang on. And then of course, just a flash, Max is by everyone. I'm very glad that the Red Bull is not that fast because you can just see that Max will be running away with these, just like we saw at the beginning of last year, 45-second gap. He's having to work to win. I mean, there's a pretty big gap this weekend, but it's a little more exciting when he doesn't have the best car because it would just be a disaster for us.
If there wasn't the safety car, he would have ran away with it. Like he was just, there was nothing happening. We were so thankful for that safety car. Oh my God.
Yeah. Both of them were great.
Yeah, it made a big difference to the race, didn't it? And it mixed it up. And
it's always going to be the case where someone pits right before. But I just love hearing it on the radio. Like it was Leclerc got screwed on one, Norris got screwed. And it's like they pit just the one lap before. And of course, then there's a safety car and they're all complaining and bitching and moaning. And it's like, of course it's going to happen. You can't predict it, but I do like hearing those radio messages.
Yeah, I feel like Alonso was the angriest, wasn't he?
Oh,
Having
he was
qualified,
so upset.
what he qualified fifth, which was like you were saying the other day, Matt. We have like they're the invisible team. They're completely invisible. They turn up with an upgrade and actually seem to work because at some point it looked like they'd both be in the top 10. So that was
They were
a bit of a
locked
shock.
into 6th and 7th pre-safety car. Like it was for sure going to happen, and then they just got screwed.
Yeah, they really.
Well, we had an interesting race watch. It was the most random race watch. I'll let Charlie. I don't even know how this came about, but we watched live at too early in the morning.
So we watched live, which is 6 a.m. here, and I had been a buddy of mine. He wanted to try to find a place we could watch a race, like whether it be a sports bar or a coffee shop or whatever. So we were brainstorming, and we went to Bob's Big Boy, which is an old diner out in right near our house. And so we had been talking to them about setting it up, and at first we got like a corporate event person, you know, and they didn't understand. And we're like, no, can you just give us the general manager of that location? Like, you know, so we finally get to this guy. He's like, yeah, we don't have Wi-Fi for you to use, but there's an outlet outside. You can use the patio. And we were going to do a projector. We ended up doing a TV, bringing a TV. But so we had this whole thing set up, and they open at 6. So we were like, well, I'll get there a little early, and they'll just, obviously there's going to be people in there working. They'll know, and they'll let us in, and it'll be fine. So we get there, and we try to open the door, and they're saying no. Like, they clearly don't know. We're holding a TV, so they obviously don't know, because it's apparent what we're there for. And so I'm like, well, let's go around to the patio because it's open, and we'll just set everything up, and that's fine. When they open, we'll get food and coffee, and it'll be great. There's no outlet anywhere. There's no power anywhere. And so finally they open, and we go inside, and we ask one of the waitresses, and she has no idea what's happening. She's like, that manager won't even be here till 8 o'clock that you talked to. And it wasn't even him. Another manager won't even be in for another 2 hours. And we don't know what to tell you. And so we're just kind of like standing around. Eventually she kind of warmed up and tried to help us a little bit more. All that being said, we finally did. They opened a little like storage door outside, and there was an outlet in there. We plugged it in, and we all watched it and had breakfast, and it was fun. But it was almost a disaster at 6 a.m.
So how many of you turned up?
There were 7 of us. 6 or 7?
Yeah, 6, 7.
6.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's actually
It was
seems
fun,
like a fun
though.
place
We
to
had
watch.
pancakes, and it was like, you know, perfect diner, kind of ideal. It's like, as we have a longer extension cord next time, because like as the sun started to rise on the other side, you started to see a little bit less and less on the TV, the glare. But like it was still great. I've watched races in way worse scenarios and enjoyed it way less. So it was really great.
So is this going to be a regular occurrence now, or is this just the
I'm going to
warm-up
try
event?
to do, I forget the races that I pitched to them, but we're going to try to do a couple more. Those early morning ones are kind of the only one that they'll let us do. So if there's, you know, any other 6 a.m. races, we'll probably try to do
Monaco.
it
Is
again.
there
Next
any?
weekend.
Is there any F1 type bar in LA anywhere, or like a sports place that's embraced it or not? You'd think that would actually be a big thing, like a watch party.
Well, the problem is F1 screws everyone. If you do like a sanctioned F1 thing, they will, like, if they find out, they're gonna, or you got to pay up a lot of money. So it's either got to be a big event or.
Yeah, because remember in Vegas the first year, they were going to charge any hotel that had a view of the track or any venue. Like if you were a restaurant.
Yeah.
If you were a restaurant that was on the 50th floor or whatever, and you had a view, whether or not they were doing a race event, they were going to charge them to have
I
that
love
space.
that.
And like, yeah, it's insane.
Or black out their windows.
Or black out their window. Yeah. It's like, no,
It's
you
like-
can't do that.
Yeah, this is.
But I think we're okay because we just brought in a TV. So it would be the same thing as us going to a diner and setting up an iPad and watching it.
Yeah.
Like, no one can stop you from doing that. We just brought our own TV instead of an iPad and did
We
it.
brought a bigger monitor. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there aren't really. One of our buddies we watched with Kalen said that he saw out in Culver City a bar that was promoting that they show the races there. I don't know if they show all of them, but there's just none. And I think it would be awesome. I don't know. The morning thing, I can just think of whenever I've gotten up super early and gone out to a bar to watch like the World Cup or something at like those early morning. It's really fun. It's like a pain to get up and get going. But once you're there and it's early and it's like, I don't know, there's something fun about it. And it would be awesome for watching races. But I haven't seen any places that do it.
Yeah, we should organise it. Let's do a party mode. When I'm in LA one time, we'll do a party mode watch party. Yeah, we'll just do it at Dax's house. I'm sure he won't mind us opening it to the general public. It should be fine.
Yeah,
No
I
problem
just
at
found
all.
it. It's L.A. Ale Works in Culver City. Apparently, has watch parties on a big screen, and race day audio. They open early for races and offer food and drinks in a relaxing setting.
That's quite cool. That would be good. I think like a cool one of these like cool car storage places as well. You know, they have like lounges and stuff. That would actually be quite a fun thing to do. Okay, let's move on to the race. We talked it briefly, but it feels like the first corner thing was almost inevitable, and it also feels like maybe Oscar thought, "Who cares? Like our car's so much quicker than the Red Bull's been in a race. I'll just get him later on in the race." But I think this was the first race. Max has already won a couple, hasn't he? But it's been get out front and just don't get past, as effectively what he's done at the other races. But this one, he was just faster than them. They had no advantage. All of that advantage we saw in Miami was wiped out effectively. And he just drove away, and then there was a virtual safety car, and he continued to drive away. Then they had a proper safety car, and he did the same again. So it was the first time they've won purely on pace, purely on merit, and great for us because it means the championship might get closer. But it looks like as McLaren already burned its early massive advantage with all this sort of squabbling and not quite getting stuff right.
And it's just a kind of a 180 from last year where Max was dominating, clearly had the best car, and then all these other teams slowly caught up. And it's like we're seeing that now. It looked, I mean, we talked about the beginning of this, just hoping that Lando and Piastri were close because those were the only guys that could compete with each other. And now we're seeing a little combo. The other cars are getting a little better. Their advantage is getting smaller. And we don't know if they have what it takes to bring it home for the championship.
That first pass was crazy.
What was he doing?
Great.
He just braked too soon. I mean, I know Max, was late braking, but it just seemed like Oscar didn't do anything.
He had it.
He just
it looked like when he first had it, he was fully in front of him. And when I watch it, I'm like, you should have done exactly what Max does and just cut him off. And then you would have been there for the whole turn, but he just stayed in his position. I don't know if he knew that he was fully ahead of him and could have moved over, or was just so nervous of because every first turn with Max could be dicey. But he just seemed like he did let him by. But it was also so clean on Max. It was a perfect pass.
And we've talked about with McLarens before, when they had such a dominant car, more dominant than the other teams, maybe you don't battle Max. Like maybe that they were told that, like, hey, let him go. We're fine. Like you said, we'll make it up through the rest of the race. That might have been some team direction. Like, hey, don't do anything stupid in the first turn. We've got the car behind us to get back up there if anything happens. Because it just seemed like he didn't do anything to defend that. He just let it happen.
Yeah, I think that approach is right if it's a 50-50. But it wasn't. I think he thought he was so far ahead of Max, let's not worry about him. And then he saw Russell on the inside. So he's trying to cover Russell off and brakes early so that Russell doesn't get a run on him. And as he does it, he just gets done around the outside. But Max must have thought it was Christmas. Like this, it didn't like lock a wheel. He didn't run even a centimeter wide. Like it was just completely under control. And yeah, I mean, at that point I thought, well, assume the McLarens will have the race pace and get back, but it just didn't work out that way. There was nothing going on at the front, really. It was Max had it all to himself, and there was loads of good racing, but it was more down from like 3rd to 10th, wasn't it? Really, it was at the back of the field.
Well, didn't George call him out?
Yeah, George did. Yeah,
he was like, "What the fuck is he doing?" He just let him do it.
Yeah. I'd say the first time Piastri's sort of just been a bit of a, what's the word I'm looking for, pussy into the first turn. He just bottled it, didn't he? And it didn't make, it doesn't fit with what we know of him, which is just this like super efficient, I'm doing my own thing, hitting my marks. He never really makes these errors, but he even admitted afterwards that he braked like 10 meters too early, which is a lot.
And who knows what would have happened, but it cost them the race seemingly, because that was it. And then we have the restarts. Max is just so good. I'm always so confident he's going to just stay ahead. There's no one that's going to pass him on those restarts. He's got the game figured out. He times it right. He always, yeah.
Yeah, there's no sense of jeopardy at all at that point. But I was, I don't know if this is going to come up in Pulp, Matt, but it seems like every race is a home race for Piastri. He must have the most incredibly diverse bloodline in the history of all human beings. Like
he really does.
He's Japanese, he's Italian. I'm sure if there's like a Democratic Republic of Congo Grand Prix, somehow Piastri will find an ancestor.
Yeah, he's got
somewhere.
Someone there. It's pretty incredible. Everyone loves him.
Yep.
I literally had this thought, like, I don't know if he wins championship, like, you know, if he ends up winning like a shit ton of championships, but like, I get this feeling like he's going to go down as one of the top 10 drivers ever. I feel like by the time he retires, I don't know. He's just got that. He's just got something. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but I hope it does. And I think that he has that in him, because I feel like he's so calm and collected, and I could just envision him getting like an edit of every start that Max has ever had where he takes people on corner one. And this whole week he's just studying that, because he's like, I'll never let that happen again. I will get Max on every first corner. Like, that's all he's going to care about.
I hope so. But man, I'm getting less and less confident in anyone else that's going against Max in that first turn. It's like, he just time and time again, he just gets it. So
yeah, I wonder if it's interesting to see, but Max he just seems so far ahead of the way other people are driving and thinking almost. I really thought if you put Lando in the right car, if you put Leclerc in the right car, they're all going to be pretty much where they need to be. But Max just feels a step ahead. It's like generational, isn't it? He's one of those like generational talents, and I'd love to see everyone close up, but it just doesn't. It feels like basically, unless McLaren have a perfect weekend, and they seem to be quite good at not having perfect weekends and making mistakes, Max is just going to jump on it. And having thought Piastri is an easy shoe-in for the title, I think Max is going to be close all the way now, because he just seems to, he's just operating at such a high level. He's fucking impressive. He really is.
Yeah, no mistakes. There's just no mistakes there.
And he's a killer.
I think McLaren's shown that they're prone to make mistakes. And so he's just going to be right there to pick up the pieces when they do.
Yeah, every single time. One proper home drive was Antonelli, but it didn't really work out for him, did it? He was sort of
poor guy.
Nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah, this was kind of a down week for Mercedes, and they've been doing so well, but it was just kind of like a quiet weekend for him.
Yeah, they sort of
don't
suck,
do well
don't
when
they?
Toto's not there.
Was he not there again? I didn't see him on the coverage. I wasn't sure.
Did you guys watch the Antonelli little mini doc?
Not yet.
I haven't watched it. No, I haven't watched it yet. Is it good?
Pretty cool. Yeah. It's interesting. It's like a little fluff piece. It doesn't get too deep into anything, but it's cool.
And he comes out pretty well, does he?
Yeah. They're clearly trying to make him the guy, the face of that whole team. But it's interesting. It's cool. They talk about his dad, and they talk about his upbringing and where he came from, and again emphasize how young he is. And they talk about even when he hopped in a car last year and put it in the wall, how like that was actually, they liked to see that. He wasn't afraid to push it, and he was going all out. And so I don't know. It's interesting. It's a good watch. Worth watching.
Yeah, I mean, that's the feeling I got a little bit with Colapinto, and even Yuki. Is like they're both sort of under pressure, but it's the nature of F1, isn't it? You got to step in the car and be at 100% plus in order to, because if you're a 10th off, you're nowhere this year. So it's just important. They've got to do it. I like it as well. The odd crash is part of the game, I think. It's a good thing to do.
Yeah. And Ferrari had their best weekend despite the rough start. They had their best finish,
Yeah.
4 and 6, which was good to see. And Lewis was unreasonably happy about that, I thought, on the radio. Just like, I guess it was his best finish this year, but just he was so happy with the team and the performance and the direction they're going. And that was kind of shocking. And Charles was the complete opposite. I mean, after that last safety car, he was in 4th, and his message was he didn't think he could hang on to points. And there were 10 laps left. And he was like, I'm worried about even getting any points here. And it's like, what are you talking about? You're in 4th place. Who's behind you?
I feel like there's two sorts of people in life, isn't there? And like Leclerc is closer to my wife's style, where she worries, she thinks a long way into the future. She sees the big picture, and it's great. It's like a really useful way to be, but I find that incredibly stressful. And I'm more like Lewis in that if the thing that happened 2 minutes ago was cool, I'm happy, and if
You're
the
good.
thing that's happening 2 minutes from now, I'm super happy. Like I've always been like that. People, even now in work, people will ring me and they'll be like, so what are you doing like 2 weeks time? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I want to go day by day if I can. I hate having a Google diary. I hate schedules. And it's part of my life. I have to do it. But I love that. Just like, what am I doing now? Is it good? I'm happy. And that's what Lewis is like. If he has a bad session, he's like almost in tears. And then he has a good session. He's on top of the world, and Ferrari's the greatest thing ever. He's got that mentality. It's quite funny to see.
Yeah.
Are you guys like that? Do you think about the future?
Very much so.
You do.
Yeah. Very, very much so.
Oh wow! So are you a planner and stuff, or are you just just think about the obstacles ahead of you in life?
I'm a planner. I'm a worrier. All of it. In fact, I don't care about what's happening in the moment. Usually, it's like if I've gotten there, I've done the plan. It's executed the plan. I did it, and now we're on to the next. Let's keep on.
So you're in the moment, but you're also thinking about the future. So you're never in the moment because you're thinking about
Physically
what's
in the moment. Yeah, physically there, but mentally, I'm into next week already.
So is Erica then more like the Jethro vibe, and where it's like a little bit less of a planner and kind of fly by, living in the moment?
Yeah, for sure. And it doesn't. She can plan, and she does plan, but she doesn't mind not having a plan, just kind of winging it, and that drives me crazy. So we do kind of balance, but I plan everything. Like if we go on vacation, I'm the one that plans all that stuff.
Do you plan, Matt? I'm just not a planner. It's a common conversation in my house is what's the plan?
No.
And my response is always, why do we need a plan?
It's like I'm always trying to. Like sometimes I'll go through a phase where like a few weeks I'll write like a list of my to-dos during the day, and I'll do that for 2 weeks consistently, and then I won't do it for 6 months. Like I'm looking at the fridge right now, and there are 10 things on a to-do list that my wife has done. And every day there's a to-do list. She's always thinking about the future, always hyper aware, and I'm like literally thinking about that day and what I'm going to do and what I'm going to buy and not anything else. And so I think it's like, there's always got to be that combination kind of in a relationship and how you go, which also surprises me because we're going to Canada this year and all the non-planners have bought their tickets and Charlie has not bought his plane tickets yet.
I've bought mine. Mine's been bought and purchased. Mine is bought and purchased.
You did? You didn't send it to the group, so no one knows. Everyone was like, has Charlie bought them yet? My response, because Matt was like, has he bought his tickets? I was like, honestly, Charlie's probably got like 5 flight trackers trying to plan like what is the cheapest. He's going to get notified and he's waiting for it. I'm like, there's a plan behind it, but he hasn't done it yet. So I guess you have bought.
Amy bought her tickets after I bought mine because I sent her the info, so we're all on the same flight. I got mine. I'm dialed, ready to go.
All right, good.
I got a set of backup tickets even. Just in case.
You have backup. Is this like one of your male bonding trips? Are you going to like fish and shoot stuff and
it's
fight
Matt's
each other
buddy.
naked and all that stuff?
Yeah, it's Matt's buddy that he grew up with has this awesome. They call them cottages, and it's on the lake up there on the water. You can't drive there. You can only boat. So we like load up their boat from the dock with all the groceries and bags and everything. And we go out to their place, and yeah, they have a dock. We swim, we fish, we boat out to different islands and barbecue for the day. But it'll be all family. So I'll bring my family. Matt will bring his. Some other friends will bring their family and kids, and it's incredible.
Okay, so what else do we have? So basically the race was
Wait,
Max nailed
Didn't
it.
you get P10? You got P10. Didn't you pick
I didn't
Yuki?
get. Did I? No, it must have been Charlie. Was it Charlie this time?
No, I didn't pick. I think you picked Yuki, didn't you?
Did I? I thought I picked Hadjar, but I'll take it.
I thought I picked Hadjar.
I think one of us got P10. I was under the impression it was one of you two. We've not been good with the P10 cards.
I'm gonna go.
Okay.
I'm gonna go back and listen.
There's no money involved this year, so it's not.
This is the problem. There's no money, so no one's taking notice. But well, if we did get P10, that's great, and it would be nice if it was me. But we definitely got I think one of us chose Yuki, one of us chose Hadjar, so that's 9 and 10. So we're getting pretty good at this P10.
And I picked Gasly, and he was 13, I think, or something. But he was close. So
we're doing pretty good.
We're honing it in a little bit.
Yeah, we're getting there. So yeah, the race, I loved the race. I actually enjoyed people crashing. I enjoyed overtaking. I enjoyed Norris versus Piastri was pretty cool at the end. Hamilton flying at the end was fun to see. It was nice to see some the crowd literally going crazy. Was really, really fun. So yeah, awesome race. Before we do a bit on Monaco, maybe we should do the pulp.
So as you said in the very beginning, Gasly destroyed Roger Rabbit. He didn't know it was a rabbit at first. He's like, something, I don't know if it was a cat, a rabbit, something. And he's like, I couldn't avoid it. And people are like, is the rabbit okay? You're like, I hit this rabbit going 200 miles an hour. Like, it is not okay. And then the people are like, well, that's his karma. That's why he didn't do well in the race. He was like third in P1. It was FP2, I think. And poor rabbit, man. Oh my God.
I mean, he took it. Yeah, I got the quote because I watched it and it cracked me up because he was trying not to laugh at it and trying to look like he had a level of sensitivity, but he's a French guy. They eat rabbit all the time. So the quote was, I couldn't tell if it was a small cat or a big rabbit, but it turns out it was a big rabbit. Unfortunately, that was it for the rabbit. Yeah.
Oh, that thing must have just exploded and did dust. I mean,
yeah,
sucked up under there.
It broke his front wing.
Have you ever run anything over of size or?
I was going to ask you guys the same thing. I don't think I've ever ran it over or hit anything major with my car. Charlie?
I have hit rabbits. Growing up, some houses, even Erica's house was kind of out further away, like a lot of development and a lot of brush, and so there would always be rabbits. And the rule, I think, is that you just keep going straight. They're going to avoid you. Don't try to do anything, so you don't crash, and just they're probably going to dodge you. So I would just go, and I've hit a couple. Yeah. Nothing big though, never a deer or I don't know, anything big.
I actually hit a sheep in a McLaren, and it was truly an awful experience. And as it happened, the thought that just immediately crossed my mind was, I fucking hope I never hit a human, because it must be the most horrendous feeling. I was in Wales in a McLaren on a photo shoot. It was like lambing season. The lambs had just come out. There were sheep all over the road, which there's always sheep on the road up there, but they're few and far between. And normally they don't move. I use them as apex markers. They can be sat there and you can graze their nose at 100 miles an hour. They never move. But this day, they were just everywhere. And I was in this, I think it was a McLaren 650S. Came around the corner and it was just on the side of the road on the verge. And then it literally, as I got almost level with it, got up and just walked into the road and then turned. So I hit it right in the arse, basically. As I did so, it shat all over the car, but it pinged. The only way I can describe it, I felt like I was doing 10 miles an hour, right? I'm not sure exactly how fast, but I was braking. I'd seen it. I was going really slow. This thing, it was like Angry Birds, when you launch, it flew so far. The rate of acceleration was like a Formula One car off the line. Like it,
Yeah, because you're
pinged
like
through the air.
this. Your front end is just hitting that ass.
Yeah. So it scooped him and pinged this thing so fast. And I was like, oh my,
God.
the energy, you don't realize the energy in a car until you hit something. And then you're like, oh my God. So it pinged and it was perfect really, because I wouldn't have wanted it to like, this sounds awful, but I wouldn't have wanted it to survive, because then what would I do if it was sat there with like broken legs? So it basically pinged and it went head first into a fence post. Like it was like perfect, because the road was lined with like fence posts and then wire, and it banged straight into the fence post, and it got up, collapsed, and then died, and that was it. It was like over very, very quickly, which was
My God.
awful, but better than it not being dead. And then what would I have to do? Try and kill it?
You would have
Or,
had
like,
to kill
I
it.
didn't know. I would have had to kill it, and I'm not cut out for killing animals with my bare hands.
What would you have
It's just-
done? You would have had to run it over again.
I don't know. Yeah, it was horrible. But seriously, the energy when you hit something, and like I say, I felt like I was doing 10 miles an hour, and I hit this thing, and it was instantly doing like 50 miles an hour. It was insane. It looked like a special effect.
And was the car just completely destroyed?
No, the car wasn't too bad, because I'd like scooped it, like Matt said. It almost
You were
was the
braking, so
perfect-
it was to the ground.
Yeah, and it's low anyway, so like it's almost like the perfect vehicle to hit something with, because it just fires it into the distance but doesn't really damage the car too badly. So it cracked a little bit of the front splitter, which I say it wasn't bad, but because it's all carbon fiber, I'm sure it cost an absolute fortune to repair. But yeah, that was my one killing an animal story. It was gruesome, and yeah, never. I mean, I'm so careful when there's pedestrians around, because I was like, God, you'd never lose that image of someone just disappearing into the distance. So anyway, yeah, that was my killing a sheep story.
So speaking of hitting something, the most traumatic thing that's ever happened to me, I was in grade 1. My sister was in kindergarten. We went to a friend's house across the street, and I thought I was a crossing guard. I was not a crossing guard. So I looked both ways, but you're supposed to look one way, the other way, and the other way again. So I looked here, told my sister to walk across the street. And I guess I didn't realize that this old lady, who was like, couldn't see over her wheel, basically, came around the corner, full speed, hits my little sister. She goes about 50 feet in the air. And I just stopped, and I was close. Like, I could run home in about 30 seconds. So I ran home to get my dad, because what am I supposed to do? I'm in grade 1. She flew 40 feet. And I went home, started screaming for my dad. And my dad said he still remembers it. So I guess he was on the toilet and he hears me screaming at the top of my lungs. So he like throws his pants on, runs out. And I like stopped my dad and I was like, Dad, we have to pray. We have to pray. So we like stopped on the porch, prayed quickly, and went. My sister went to the hospital, not a broken bone, barely a scratch on her. Like, I don't know what happened, but every time I see a crossing guard, I just like, ugh. Like, it's terrifying. Not good.
I mean, I thought you were just about to reveal that you had effectively killed your sister, but no, it turns out there was a happy ending to that story.
He tried his best.
Happy ending. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she's okay.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
She's okay.
So we talked to, yeah, not good. Started off rough. Toto was not there because his son graduated from USC, so he was back here in California while the race was going on.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What's he graduated in, being a billionaire son?
Yeah, really.
I think there's a lot of that at USC.
Oh, really? Yeah. Yeah. You just go there for 4 years and don't do anything, knowing that you're going to inherit a load of money. That's the sort of course I would like.
So moving on to the Monaco Grand Prix. So we have the Circuit de Monaco. It is the length of the track is 3.337 kilometers. There are 78 laps. The first GP here was in 1950, and last year's winner finally was Charles Leclerc. So that was a big one. The track breakdown is it is a tight, twisty, zero margin for error. It's all about precision. Famous corners include Casino Square, ultra glamorous and lightning fast. We have Mirabeau and Lowe's Hairpin, the slowest corner in F1. The tunnel, which is the only one on the calendar, and it is such a cool sound when you're going in that tunnel. The Tobacco swimming pool, obviously, And fun facts, it is the slowest race on the calendar, but the most iconic. Overtaking is almost impossible, so qualifying is basically the race. If you win here, it's like winning, it's the next best thing to winning a driver's championship. And they need big time focus, and it is part of the Triple Crown of motorsport. So if you win this, the Indy 500 and Le Mans, you are a Triple Crown winner. And Ayrton Senna holds the most win record for 6 wins.
Yeah.
Monaco is very cool looking. I like thinking about going there and being there and all of it. The yachts, everyone partying on watching the race from their yachts. It looks super fun and like a great experience. As far as a race, I don't like it. It's like feels like an off week to me. There's no passing. It's slow. It's not my favorite.
Yeah, it's an event rather than a race. And I think I love qualifying. I think it's amazing to watch because they're dancing the car so close to the barriers. There's so much jeopardy, which we were talking about earlier with Imola and gravel traps, but here it's just Armco and crashing. I think Saturday is mega. The race on Sunday is nearly always completely boring. And you can literally, the problem is you can lap like 5 seconds off the pace if you're in the lead, look after your tyres, and literally no one can come past. So it's one of those, I'm glad it exists. It's cool. It's part of the glamour of the calendar. And Saturday's awesome, but they almost need to find a new way to make the Grand Prix relevant, because Sunday is literally lie on the sofa, have a sleep while the Grand Prix is on, and that's it.
Yep.
I think.
Yep. And is there even a DRS? There's one DRS zone on the main straight. Is that right?
And it's so
But
short.
it's just short. Yeah.
Yeah, it's short, and there's that big bump at the end that everyone drives around, and it's just like, it's not for overtaking. Who knows? Everyone said Imola wouldn't overtake, but this is even worse. So it's all about qualifying, which means you can't help but put your money on Max, because he's the guy who keeps pulling it out of the bag.
Especially a track like this. It is the slowest track. It's got to be more to do with the driver than the car performance, you know? And so when it comes down to just the driver's ability, I think Max has got it. And if he puts it on pole, then he's just going to stay there. Like you said, he can go as slow as he wants because no one can pass him.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, Leclerc is magic around there. We've seen the sort of fairy tale when he won the race. But I just don't see the Ferrari's got the pace, even on such a different track. It just doesn't feel like they're going to be able to do that. So I think Max for the win. Let's do P10. What do you? I went first last time, so we can't even remember if I won or not. So let's someone else go this time.
I'm gonna go with who is going to get it. I'm gonna go with Stroll.
Who's your race winner?
Stroll. Max.
Okay, I'm going Alonso. And I'm gonna go Norris for the race win. I always go Piastri, but I don't know why. Maybe he's gonna go. I don't know. It would be his kind of like shining moment, but I don't know, just for fun.
I would love Norris to win. I think he needs it to get the championship back on track and to bring all three of them into it. I think Max will win just because he's just on fire. He's just on fire. He really is. P10. I feel like Hadjar's doing almost too well to put him P10 now, isn't he? He's a machine. He's so good. I'm going to go Antonelli, P10.
Ooh, you don't think he's going to do very well?
Well, it's a tough race if you've not. I guess they've raced there in F2, but it's first time in an F1 car around there. It's all about confidence. I just feel like he's not in a particularly confident place right now. And he doesn't seem to be one of those young guys who just sticks it all on the line and forgets all the consequences. He seems to see that bigger picture situation. So I think P10 wouldn't be bad for him. But yeah, I'm going to go Antonelli.
Was it last year that it was pouring rain, or was that the year before?
I don't know. Like I say, I don't plan and I don't remember. This is. I'm just.
I think it was last year. It was pouring rain, and they're going so slow. Like it's like a walking pace. It seemed like at some of those turns. It's insane.
Yeah, but if you ran someone over, they would still fly into the air. I'm telling you.
Yeah, they'd fly.
And the cars look too big for the track. Like they're so wide. It's just like, it looks insane.
they still do the historic race there. Some like every 2 years they do a Monaco Historic Grand Prix, and they have like 1950s cars up to maybe 70s. But when you watch the 50s cars, which is sort of when it formed, they're like 3 abreast into corners and they're overtaking each other, and you're like, oh, this was awesome, this makes sense. But now when you see them, yeah, it doesn't work. Okay, well, I think that's pretty much everything. Great, fantastic race at Imola. I think I would like Imola to stay on the circuit for a little bit, or at least like revolve. Maybe they could do a European Grand Prix again and revolve some of these classic tracks, because it was great. Max is a machine. Lando seemed to have fallen off, but he rescued it at the end there, and it was actually pretty awesome. So yeah, this is the point Dax would say, push, 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 push. We're just going to say, enjoy Monaco, enjoy your sleep on the sofa on Sunday afternoon or morning, depending where you are in the world, and we will download everything that happens, i.e. nothing, next week.
Ciao.
See you guys.